Back to reality, my friends. This is what we're used to. And I'm smiling, but it's only because I don't want to cry. Today was straight up ugly. The game, the loss, the weather, the special teams, the whole damn thing.
But we had a lot of opportunities. Didn't make the most of hardly any of them.
Good luck. You don't threaten anybody. No one is afraid of you. And the Houston Texans play that way. Their secondary guys never felt like they were threatened at all.
Words are cheap. It's about what you do or you don't do. And so I appreciate the question, but people talk too much in our business. You either do or you don't.
Aaron Rodgers should just call it a day. Hang him up, man, as he should have before this season. He was washed before this season. I said so. And he played washed all season, in which he finished 23rd out of 28 qualified quarterbacks in QBR.
No, I'm not going to make any emotional decisions. Disappointed, obviously, it's such a fun year. Overall in my life in the last year, and this is, a really good part of that, coming here and being a part of this team. So it's disappointing to be sitting here with the season over.
The Pittsburgh Steelers just got absolutely demolished at home. And I'm not talking about a close loss. I'm not talking about a heartbreaker that came down to the wire. I'm talking about a complete and total beatdown, a humiliation, a 36 annihilation at the hands of the Houston Texans in the wild card round that has left Steelers Nation in shambles and the entire NFL world buzzing about what comes next.
It's 30-6.
Because this wasn't just another playoff loss for Pittsburgh. This was playoff loss number 7 in a row. 7 straight years of getting bounced in the first round. 7 straight years of hope turning to despair. 7 straight years of Mike Tomlin walking off that field without a postseason victory to his name. And the streak continues.
Thought it was going to be a different story.
But here's what has everyone talking today. It's not just the loss, it's what happened after the loss. Aaron Rodgers, the 42-year-old future Hall of Famer who was supposed to be Pittsburgh's savior, sat at that podium and delivered some of the most brutally honest, shockingly blunt, and frankly bizarre post-game comments we've seen from a quarterback in years. Let's start with the obvious. The Steelers' offense was pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. 6 points? 6! Against a Texans defense that sure is talented, but this is the NFL playoffs. You're at home. Your season is on the line, and you score 6 measly points? The Steelers went 2 for 14 on third down conversions. Read that again. 2 for 14. That's not winning football. That's not competitive football. That's barely professional football.
Well, we had a lot of 3rd and 10 pluses to start. Those are low percentage conversions. I think first and second down wasn't very good. That's why third down was difficult.
Aaron Rodgers finished the night looking every bit of his 42 years. He was getting pressured constantly by Will Anderson Jr. and Daniel Hunter, who absolutely feasted on this offensive line. The game plan fell apart. The execution was non-existent. And in the fourth quarter, when it was 30-6 and completely out of reach, Rodgers didn't even finish the game. Mason Rudolph came in for the final series. And when a reporter asked him about that decision, about why he came out of the game, Rodgers gave possibly the coldest, most matter-of-fact answer you'll ever hear.
30-6.
That's it. 3 words. No elaboration, no emotion, just, it was 30-6. Like he was reading the scoreboard to someone who couldn't see it. The game was over. Why would I stay in? It was 30-6. Now, you can interpret that however you want. Some people are saying it's honest, it's refreshing, he's not sugarcoating the embarrassment. Others are saying it's giving up, it's quit culture, it's a Hall of Fame quarterback waving the white flag with his entire season on the line.
No, I'm not going to make any emotional decisions. Disappointed, obviously, it's such a fun year.
Wait, a fun year? You just lost 7 games down the stretch. You scored 6 points in a home playoff game. You're now part of the longest playoff win drought in Steelers history, and you're calling it a fun year? Look, I get it. Rodgers is trying to keep perspective. He's 42 years old. He knows his career is closer to the end than the beginning. But Steelers fans aren't trying to hear about how much fun you had. They want wins. They want playoff victories. They want results. And then came the moment that really set social media on fire. A reporter asked Rodgers if he entered tonight thinking it could be his final game.
I've answered this before. Every game could be my final game.
Stone cold. Every game could be my final game. That's the reality when you're 42 in the NFL. But it's also a non-answer. He's not committing. He's not saying yes. He's not saying no. He's leaving everyone in limbo. And that's exactly what the Steelers don't need right now. Because let's be real here. This organization is at a crossroads. Mike Tomlin has now gone 9 straight seasons without a playoff win. 9 years. That's not a drought. That's a generational failure. And the pressure is mounting.
You know, when you hear conversation about the Mike Tomlins of the world, Matt LaFleur's of the world, those are just two that kind of I've played for. And when I first got in the league, there wouldn't be conversation about whether those guys were on the hot seat.
Rodgers went on an entire rant defending Mike Tomlin. He talked about how the league has changed, how social media and TV experts who don't know what the hell they're talking about have created this culture of instant reactions and hot takes. He said Tomlin and Matt LaFleur shouldn't even be in hot seat conversations because they're proven winners.
We had a lot of success. Mike T has had more success than damn near anybody in the league, for the last 19, 20 years. And more than that, though, when you have the right guy.
And you know what? He's not wrong about Tomlin's regular season success. The man has never had a losing season in 19 years as head coach. That's incredible. That's consistency most franchises would kill for. But here's the problem. This isn't about regular season success anymore. Steelers fans are tired. They're exhausted. They've watched this same movie 7 times now, and the ending never changes. They get to the playoffs, they look unprepared, they get dominated, and they go home.
So, Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game now in 10 years. Whew. That's no good. Now, he's never had a losing season. I'll give you that one. But in now 15 of his 19 years as Steelers head coach, they've either missed the playoffs or lost their first playoff game. And I can't defend that.
10 years without a playoff win. Think about that. A decade. The last time Mike Tomlin won a postseason game was January 2016. Barack Obama was still president. The iPhone 6 was the newest model. Damn Daniel was trending on Vine. That's how long it's been. And yet, Rodgers is out here defending him like he's untouchable, like the standard in Pittsburgh should be, well, at least we're not the Browns. That's not the Steelers' way. That's never been the Steelers' way. This is a franchise built on championships, on winning the big games, on rising to the moment, not sneaking into the playoffs every year just to get embarrassed.
We were playing hard football, and we just couldn't get off the field when we needed to, and that's why it hurts.
The defense actually played well enough to win for most of this game. They forced 3 turnovers. They held Houston to 10 points through 3 quarters. TJ Watt and that front 7 were flying around making plays. But when your offense can only muster 6 points, when you can't stay on the field, when you're constantly putting your defense back out there, eventually they're going to break.
Defensively, they only allowed 16 points. That's winning football, guys. They forced 3 turnovers. That's winning football. So the defense, I know they had some issues against the rushing attack here or there, but in totality, they played good enough to win.
The fourth quarter was a complete collapse. 23 unanswered points, the fumble 6 that sealed it, the pick 6 on the final drive. It got ugly, real ugly, and you could see it on the players' faces. They knew this wasn't just a loss, this was a statement. The Texans are better. They're younger, faster, more talented. And the Steelers, they're stuck in neutral.
I haven't had the answer for a long time, so don't ask me.
That's DJ Reader, a veteran defensive lineman, when asked what needs to change for this team to get postseason success. He doesn't have an answer. He's been through this multiple times now, and he's out of ideas. That's where this organization is right now. Out of ideas. Out of answers. Just running the same plays, hoping for different results. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, Aaron Rodgers' future. Because despite everything that happened tonight, despite the embarrassment, despite finishing 23rd out of 28 qualified quarterbacks in QBR this season, there's a very real possibility he comes back next year.
I believe that the Steelers, who never fire head coaches, never move on from head coaches, I believe they'll run it back with Mike Tomlin yet again for year number 20. That's just who they are and what they do. And I believe that Mike Tomlin will convince Aaron Rodgers to run it back for one more year because those two had so much fun together.
Fun. There's that word again. And you know what? Maybe they did have fun. Maybe Rodgers genuinely enjoyed playing in Pittsburgh. He praised the organization multiple times in his press conference. He talked about how special it was to play for two historic franchises. He gushed about Zach Frazier, calling him potentially the best center in the league.
I mean, I don't think there's a better center in the league. I watched it every single week. We obviously got a good D-line, but 54 is as consistent as they come in the league. He's got a bright future.
But here's the reality check. Fun doesn't win championships. Chemistry doesn't win championships. Talent wins championships. Execution wins championships. And tonight, the Steelers had neither. Now, Mike Tomlin held his own press conference after the game, and let me tell you, it was tense. Tomlin was short with reporters, clearly frustrated, clearly disappointed, but he also wasn't making excuses.
It's not time for talk. We agreed that we'll meet tomorrow and go from there. But, when you're in this single elimination tournament, man, it's not a whole lot to talk about. You win or you go home.
That's Mike Tomlin in a nutshell. Direct, no nonsense. But also the same energy we've seen after every playoff loss for the last decade. There's no fire anymore, no urgency, just acceptance that this is how it ends every single year. When asked specifically about what led to the offensive struggles, Tomlin kept it simple.
We didn't put our guys in good enough position. We didn't make enough plays. And certainly the Houston Texans did.
But later in the press conference, when pressed about the bigger picture, about the pattern of playoff failures, Tomlin got philosophical.
But people talk too much in our business. You either do or you don't.
And that right there is the Mike Tomlin experience. He's right. Actions speak louder than words, but the actions have been the same for 10 years now. Get to the playoffs, lose immediately, repeat.
Because if you cannot tell me option B is better than option A,
Totally agree.
then what are you doing?
What is your solution beyond your expulsion?
Yeah.
That's the million-dollar question facing the Steelers organization right now. If you fire Mike Tomlin, who do you replace him with? If you move on from Aaron Rodgers, who's your quarterback? These aren't easy questions. These are franchise-altering decisions that could set Pittsburgh back years if they get it wrong.
One thing I can say about Aaron Rodgers, guys, viewers, he had fun this season. He enjoyed playing the game.
Yeah.
That excitement returned back for Aaron Rodgers.
Maybe that's enough for Rodgers. Maybe at 42, playing fun and playing meaningful games in December is all he's looking for. But is that enough for the Steelers? Is that enough for a fan base that's starving for postseason success?
No clue.
That was TJ Watt when asked if there's a common link to these 9 straight years without a playoff win. No clue. One of the best defensive players in the NFL, a future Hall of Famer in his own right, has no idea why this keeps happening. That should terrify Steelers fans. When your best players don't have answers, when your head coach is running out of explanations, when your quarterback is talking about having fun instead of winning championships, you're in trouble. The Steelers are at a crossroads. They can run it back with Tomlin and Rodgers, hope that another year in the system makes a difference, hope that some off-season acquisitions push them over the top. Or they can blow it up, start fresh, find a new head coach, a new quarterback, a new identity.
It'll only get worse, Pittsburgh, if you run it back with Mike T and Aaron bleepin' Rodgers.
Strong words, but after watching tonight's performance, after seeing the same movie play out for the 7th straight year, can you really argue with that sentiment? The Steelers finished 10-7 this season. They won the AFC North. On paper, that's success, but in reality, it's just another year of false hope. Another year of getting close but not close enough. Another year of watching better teams advance while Pittsburgh goes home early. This organization needs to take a long, hard look in the mirror and figure out what they want to be. Because right now, they're stuck in mediocrity. And in the NFL, mediocrity is the most dangerous place to be. You're not bad enough to get a high draft pick. You're not good enough to actually contend for a championship. You're just there. Aaron Rodgers went viral tonight for all the wrong reasons. His blunt answers, his matter-of-fact delivery, his apparent acceptance of this loss, it all rubbed people the wrong way. But maybe, just maybe, he's being more honest than anyone else in that organization. Maybe this is just who the Steelers are now. A team that makes the playoffs, gives you hope, and then breaks your heart in the most predictable way possible. The question is, how much longer will Steelers Nation accept that reality?